Hello, and welcome to day 29 of Dear Grave Woman, my 30-day series where I'm cleaning out my inbox and answering your questions about life, death, grief, and everything in between. Today, we have an email from Denise in Tulsa, and Denise says, Dear Grave Woman, I just found out I inherited a cemetery plot from my aunt. I don't know what to do with it. Can I sell it? Should I keep it for myself or another family member? I've never thought about this kind of thing before. Please help. Denise, I firstly want to say condolences on the loss of your aunt. And secondly, congratulations on the inheritance of your piece of cemetery property. What a beautiful gift that your aunt has left you. And early on in my career in death care, I worked as a family service counselor for a corporation in a cemetery. And it was always amazing to me to see how families pass down cemetery property throughout generations, or when one family member came in maybe 60, 70, 80 years ago when the cemetery first opened and purchased huge areas of land and plots in the cemetery so that their family would always have some place to be laid to rest. I just always thought that that was such a meaningful gift, and how beautiful of your aunt to leave that to you. The first thing that you're going to want to do, based on my experience and research, is to confirm ownership and transfer any paperwork or deeds over to yourself. So, confirming that you indeed own the property and then having the deed or the paperwork put into your name. And then from there, you can decide what you want to do with it. Of course, you can sell it. People don't realize that cemetery property is always getting more expensive. I can remember selling mausoleum spaces for five digits or five figures. I can name properties around here that sell cemetery property for upwards of $15,000. And so, yes, cemetery property is always increasing in price. But I also want you to think about that. If it's always increasing in price, if it's worth, I don't know, let's say $5,000 today, what might it be worth in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years? Another thing to consider is this piece of property in the geographical location where you plan to be laid to rest? Is being laid to rest or buried um, in a cemetery something that you want to do? Is that the disposition that you want? A lot of people are going for more eco friendly options, are opting out of cemetery spaces because they don't think that their family members are going to make the journey to travel to see them if they're all not geographically close together. And so my question to you, or my challenge to you, would be to explore what it is that you want your final wishes to be and what you want your disposition method to be. And is that cemetery space, its location, and the type of space that it is in alignment with that? For example, if you're someone that wants a green burial, but this is a traditional cemetery that does not allow for green burial, then maybe this is not the space for you. If you're someone who wants natural organic reduction and you don't plan to go into the cemetery at all, perhaps this is not a gift that is in alignment with your wishes. I would also consider you to think along the same thoughts of your aunt. Is this something that I can pass on to future generations? I can't tell you how many times, working as a funeral director and also in the cemetery as a family service counselor, where a younger person passed away in the family and the parents or parent was in no way financially prepared to purchase property, purchase a casket, purchase a vault, have a funeral, and bury their loved one. And the thing that saved the family financially and saved that person from perhaps having to cremate their loved one, which is something they didn't want to do for various reasons, is having that piece of family property available. Um, it personally, in my family, my mother and my uncle Mark, who passed away, I talk about him a lot here. He worked for a corporation and purchased a piece of property. He and my mother together. They decided they couldn't go in the national cemetery with their parents, and so they were going to purchase these pieces of property together. Unfortunately, my uncle passed away at 49 years old, was the first one to be laid to rest. And my mother made the decision to give the piece of property to my uncle's wife so that they could be laid to rest together. And so, just thinking along those lines, there's several options available for you. Um, Last but not least, I want you to consider whether or find out whether or not this cemetery provides what's called perpetual care, which is care that will be provided to keep the cemetery clean and aesthetically inviting forever. If it is, I would encourage you to keep that property, because perpetual care, if it's already been purchased and it's not something that you have to pay fees on or make contributions to in the future, is worth its weight in gold. So, thank you so much for this question. Again, please do your own research. Laws and policies, procedures, and all those things differ from state to state, county to county. I am giving you my insight based on my experience working in the states of Georgia and South Carolina. However, you are in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and so the laws may be different there. I don't know exactly where your aunt had the piece of property, but thank you so much for this question. This was a great question and pulled me back to my cemetery days. Y'all, tomorrow is day 30. It's the last day. I can't believe we're almost at the end of this series, but thank you again for your question, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 30.